Hey guys, today I want to give you a tip just because I've had students reach out to me lately, and I think there's this assumption that if you find a deal and you want to flip it, that there's no money needed. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what's needed to do a transaction. So if you're going to wholesale, especially if that property is on the market, you're still going to need EMD money. You generally have, once you sign that contract, you sign that you're going to, within 3 days, bring an earnest money deposit in. Many times that'll be 3% of the purchase price. I don't like to offer 3%. I like to offer 5 to 10 grand, especially if it's an all cash deal, because I say, hey, look, we're going to close in 14 days. The 3% is for a loan contingency, which I don't have. So that's how you argue that with a realtor or a homeowner. Some are animate about it, but you just have to explain an all cash transaction is not the same as one with a loan contingency. And nobody wants to lose 5 or 10 grand. And if you're going to find out real fast if I don't close in 2 weeks whether you get that money. So anyway, so that's how I would start there. But when you're going to wholesale, again, you still should have that earnest money available. So how do you get it? Well, what I like to do is I like to offer family and friends or anybody I know, like 5 to 10% on their money for that. So let's say I'm going to borrow 10 grand for 2 weeks. I'll give them $500 for 2 weeks, and that's an easy 5% on their money in a 2-week period. Most people aren't getting 1 to 2% in their bank account over a year. So to get $500 on 10 grand is pretty cool. Now it is unsecured, so that's why they're getting 5%, and I make sure I tell them that. So I would start reaching out to people that have 5 or 10 grand, or even put together a group of people that have 1,000 or 2,000 and give them that 5 to 10% for a short period of time. So that's where you start. And so, but understand, if you get a flip, there isn't a hard money lender out there that I know of that will fund 100% of your deal unless you have a ton of experience. I could probably go find that, considering that I've been doing this so long. But if you're brand new or you've only done a deal or two, very few investors or private money lenders or hard money lenders are going to give you the money to do a deal without you having skin in the game or money in. So if you don't have money and you're starting out in this business, now that's not a problem. I started out, I didn't have any money. So what do? You find what we call gap investors. When you do a hard money loan, you still need somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 on average to get that deal done. So let's say we're going to do a 15% down or 20% down. Let's say it's 20% because of lack of experience. But I'm buying a $500,000 property. So $500,000 is my purchase price, and I need to put 20% down. I need to find $100,000 of gap money, and then there's more fees. There's closing costs. There's points on the loan, which is generally 2 to 3. All right. There's some junk fees like an appraisal, a processing fee. Right? And then I got to have enough money to pay for the rehab, unless I find a hard money lender that's going to lend me what's called fund control, which is they're going to lend me money as they see progress. You still need the initial $20,000, $30,000 on average of rehab money to get the ball rolling, and then you'll get it replaced through fund control as progress is shown by the contractor. All right. So I need that $100,000 down. Let's say it's 2 points. 2 points on a $400,000 loan is $8 grand. Closing costs, so I'm into it for like $15,000. So $115,000. Then I got to have 6 months minimum of holding costs. So if I'm borrowing $400,000, and let's say it's at 10%, my payment's like $3,500. So I got to have 6 times $3,500 additional fees, plus utility costs, which is about $150 a month, plus insurance costs. So then there's property taxes. There's all these other fees that come into play. So you want to have a good chunk of money. Sometimes I overborrow because I never know how much I'm going to need. And so, you don't want to overborrow too much, but you overborrow a little bit just in case it goes long or there's more rehab costs, which is usually what happens in our business. So if a contractor gives you a bid of, let's say, 50 grand, factor that it's going to cost you 55. Give yourself a 10% overage just in case. Kind of normal in this business. So you're going to need that money, that gap money. Where do you get it? Well, you can find it from a smaller investor that's going to go in a second position. So the hard money will always go in a first. And then the second is that gap money that goes behind the first. and allows you to get the deal done. Now, what do you pay a gap investor? Remember, the first or the hard money lender is going to charge you 2 to 3 points, junk fees, and usually somewhere between an 8 and 12% annualized interest rate. So generally what we're going to pay our gap investors is a 12% annualized. It's double digit, it's secured, it's more than they'll ever get in the bank, and probably higher than they'll get in the stock market in most cases. So, you know, at least they can be rest assured that they're going to get that in the end. All right, so that's what you need to make a deal happen in this market here in 2019. So you're going to need all that extra money to do a hard money loan. There is no deal out there where there's no skin in the game. So you want to start raising money as soon as possible. Now, granted, finding a deal means you're going to make money, but I would rather you flip it versus wholesale it, because you're going to make a lot more flipping than you ever would wholesaling. All right, this is Coach Weaver with your tip of the day. Hey guys, I'll see you on the flip.